This here is a video from NASA from a link that I shared. And that link will take you to a particular video. I'm just going to narrate it. What it does is it shows Idalia over here as a tropical depression kind of going north and south and kind of meandering and then becoming a tropical storm. I'm going to pause it. I show this for a few different reasons, but first off we can see the right side of this particular tropical storm, or really any hurricane, in this particular area of the world is where we're going to see the most severity. And that's the case over there in Franklin as a Category 4 over there in the Atlantic. So here Idalia is coming across the western tip of Cuba. And then what I want you to do is let's actually go back. I want you to kind of look at how fast Franklin's moving. And then kind of compare that to how fast Idalia starts moving as it gets over past the tip of Cuba. So Franklin's kind of moving along. It's very normal for a hurricane, and it kind of starts to slow down. But now watch Idalia here. 1, Category 2, Category 3. It was briefly 4, but then back to 3. 1, 2. And so it very quickly went from that western tip of Cuba to off the coast of the Carolinas. So that's one of the things we think about Idalia that makes it rather unique, is it had a very long lifespan, kind of wandering there around the Yucatan and just south of the western tip of Cuba. And then its lifespan as a hurricane was quite short, but quite intense as quickly it went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, then back down to 3. And then eventually, after making its one landfall in the United States, went off the coast of the Carolinas, and it generally followed the path of Franklin from there on out. I'll go ahead and I'll go back to this point here, and you'll see how the winds from Idalia are kind of coming into the winds of Franklin. Another video here from the Eyes in the Sky there from NASA shows the large size of Idalia. And you can see that relative to Franklin. Even further, this is showing precipitation. So those areas of high precipitation are shown in red, and the areas of less precipitation are there in green and yellow somewhere in between. Heavy amounts of rain is hitting much of Florida. In this particular hurricane, it's still far from making its landfall. And so you can see those dense outer rain bands coming out of both sides, from behind the eye and in front of the eye. And so as this particular storm system is moving north, it's already dumping huge amounts of rain before the heavy stuff even comes. And so these particular areas of Georgia and parts of South Carolina are already getting hit with rain before this low pressure center comes and dumps even more rain. This is useful for it shows that inward spiral, and also shows the depth or the cross section of a hurricane. One of these things where 20 years ago we really couldn't do. Now it's much easier to do and cooler to show these types of videos that show the cross section. It shows that central dense overcast, the eye, and the eye wall.